recording.
What's the theme of the show? What are we talking about?
Well, as promised, I got Peter Anthony back on the show. Thank you all for joining us. I am, as always, Stephen Jarvis, and this is Stephen Jarvis and Friends podcast. And as another person from a faraway land, an old podcast that me and a friend used to do, Mark Bensett. How are you doing, bro?
Good.
And the man of the hour, too sweet to be sour, the man that created one of the greatest, winning awards. Let's be honest, it is the greatest fan film of all time. That is Peter Anthony and Roseblood.
Thank you,
Peter,
man.
how are you doing today?
Good, I'll take. And Mark, I didn't know what Mark Ben said. I know Mark.
Yes.
So, yeah.
We talk a lot.
So you said last name, like, oh, I know this guy.
See, I even have your what I won from you.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, man. You haven't been on in a while, so it's an honor that you got me back on when you come on.
Well, yeah, I hated it because I used to do it from Anchor, and I had like 700 people that listened. Well, when I went to Buzzsprout, I had to start all over again.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh.
Yeah, but you got up there now. You're getting better.
I've got over like 200 now, so I mean,
it's still
and that's
better
been
than
under a
you had
year.
over on Anchor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Congratulations too. I believe, man, my memory's bad. The last day or two was an anniversary for you, correct?
Yes. In July, me and Alyssa celebrated our 6 years of being together. We're actually getting married this month.
Oh wow!
So,
congrats.
Yeah, I usually have my engagement ring on, but whenever I have to, go to the bathroom and wash my hands, it's like gotta take it off or fall in the toilet or something.
Yeah, I don't wear one. I've been married almost 23 years.
Yeah, because
22.
But here's the thing, Mark. Your wife's secretly trying to divorce you to go to Nacho. So I mean,
we won't talk about that. That's a
okay. We won't talk about that. Okay. So
that's the inside joke. Remember.
Yeah.
So
everybody,
Peter,
he's only joking about that. She's gonna leave me in Ireland on our 25th.
I'm gonna laugh if that's the one thing someone gets triggered about is, oh my God, Steven's making fun of someone's wife's divorcing him or something. It's just a joke.
One to do
it. There's some idiot out there that would be offended.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I already got an email from Buzzsprout saying, because I talked about having you back on the show, Peter, and someone got mad and commented or emailed Buzzsprout and said, you need to get him canceled because he's and it was just a joke. I said, if Peter Anthony was Jason and said, okay, how do you want me to kill you? I said, choke me and make me call you daddy as when you're Jason.
Oh, so that's some guy wanted to get you canceled because of that?
Yeah. Because they thought I was bashing homosexual people. And I'm like, no.
What if you were gay?
Wait a minute. Did he think you were homosexual?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's like, really? Like, it was a joke. Like, when they used to have the memes of when Michael was choking Cameron, and it became a big thing where people were saying, Cameron's probably saying, choke me harder, daddy. And it's just like, oh, my God.
Right.
So, yeah, that was my first taste with Buzzsprout actually getting a little bit mad at me. But I said, show me where it's a bad thing. Like, I'm not being political. I'm not doing anything like that. So
it's ridiculous.
Okay. Let's get into something else.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Roseblood for a minute.
Shoot.
Yep.
All right. The first time I watched it, I watched it. Then I had to watch it again. I've watched it about 4 times.
Yeah.
What made you decide to use Michael in it instead? Out of anybody?
Instead of anybody. Just Freddy vs. Jason's been done. And I always wanted to see Michael and Jason on screen. And I figured if Tina had a power where she could manifest Jason, like how she brought him back to life in the lake in 7, then what if Rose had one, and what would it be? And I remember at first it was going to be people don't know this, it's going to be a Chucky doll. And she was always going to be with the doll. And then the doll was going to turn evil. And then in the writing process, I'm like, I'll just make it Michael. And I'll give hints throughout the movie. That's why, I'm sure you noticed, if you watch it 2, 3, 4 times, you start to catch more things.
Mm-hmm.
Like how this thing killed her parents. Well, that's Michael. And then when everyone died in the room, that's Michael's kitchen knife. And then, you know, when she drew the drawing, that's Michael. When the guy says he's got no face, it doesn't mean someone's face ripped off. It means a white, paleless face, emotionless face. So all those things, I always wanted to see Michael and Jason on screen. And here I am, like a big kid, you know, making a movie. And I thought it came out really good how he scanned and kind of revealed him coming from the fire and stuff.
I mean, that's majorly badass. And, you know, one thing I got to ask you, Peter, because we have you on the show, did you ever think Roseblood was going to be this big? I mean, it's still being talked about.
No, as far as fan reaction, no. I always want like more views, more stuff like that. You know how you guys are. It's the same thing. So, yeah. But fan reaction, I mean, you got like other stars from the series saying it's canon, or it's this or that, or I love how you tied these people in, or I love how you took 4 different movies and put them together. And then, you know, some people, and I get it, and I knew this would be a problem for some people, were mad that Jason wasn't there that first hour. But for me, it was always the Jaws effect. Like, yeah. I don't want to show him for the hour. I wanted to build the characters. And then when he came, I you know, obviously I'm biased, but I think once he came, he kicked ass.
I agree. Yeah. I 100% agree on that one, because it was like, okay, you know he's going to come, but when?
Right.
It was that, okay, he's coming. Oh, there he is.
Right, because in my mind, like, so it's Camp Crystal Lake Research Facility, which is from X. So the lake is right there. So once he's awoken and in the building, how am I going to have him walk around the building for an hour? Like, it just wouldn't work to me. It'd work if it was Michael, maybe, like in the shadows, but I don't think Jason would work. I think he's pissed off. 7 was already an aggressive character, so for me, it had to be like 7 on steroids, you know?
Yeah, after the first time I talked to you on video, I went back and I actually watched 7, not once, but twice. And I understood why you liked that one more, you know, why you took it off of that one. And because I told you, I didn't really care for it.
Right.
Now, that's not my last Friday the 13th that now on my list, you know,
right.
It's towards the middle, more towards, that's, you know, it made me like it more after I talked to you and, you know, opened my eyes up a little bit more, which worked out perfect for me.
That's great. You know, a lot of people always say just such an honor, you know, they'll be like, well, from now on, when I watch 7, I'm going to throw Rosebud in after. And I'm just like, wow, you know, that as a kid, I almost want to cry. Or like as a kid growing up, being such a huge fan of the series, to make something and have someone say that, I don't care if it's one person, is just amazing. You know, I ordered the VHSs. They'll be here in like 4 or 5 weeks. And
that was one of the questions I was going to ask you after.
But my promise to myself is I have an old school tube TV, and with the VHS in it. So what I'm going to do is get a huge tub of popcorn. I'm going to get a bunch of Bud Lights, and I'm going to like finally relax. I'm going to watch part 7 on VHS, which I have, and then I'm going to put Roseblood in on VHS on a tube TV with popcorn in my living room, and that's going to be like the culmination of, you know, of everything I've gone through for the film. I think I'll be happy like a little kid again.
Could you imagine if you put in all the fan films that they've made throughout the year or throughout the years and just put it in where you think that it's supposed to be in at? Watching the series.
I took a picture of you know, the box set that Scream Factory came out with.
Yeah,
so
I got it.
I took a picture of that, and at the time it was Vengeance and, man, I forgot the other film, but I put them in there. So that's kind of what I'm going to do with Roseblood. The only other problem is, like, let's say Never Hike Alone. I don't think it's like, where do you put it? Because it's almost like its own universe, right? I know it's Tommy with 6, but he's wearing a jacket. Where do you put that? Jason Rising, I guess you put after 4. Fall Camp Blood, you put after 4. Vengeance, you put after, well, Vengeance is 30 years after 6, but I guess you put it after 6, and Vengeance 2 after 6, and you put Roseblood after 7. But Never Hike Alone, I don't know where that would go, right? What do you think?
It could probably go in after, hell, any point in time, it could actually go in. I mean,
yeah, you're right. It could be any time. Even when he has the jacket. He has the jacket, so it almost could go after 2009, and Tommy could be down the road from that.
Right. Yeah. I really can't wait to see how they end that series.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know people were mad about how, you know, the second one in that where it didn't finish, or, you know, it was so little amount of time. And, well, people got to understand, they weren't really making it for, you know, they knew that they wanted to do a series out of it. So
right. I think the second one was 27 minutes.
Yeah, I think so. And, you know, it's surprising me that most of the fan films, out of all of them, are, you know, they don't really have nudity in them, which surprises me because Jason's films have nudity, but then again, you don't need them in every movie.
Yeah, I felt like it didn't work with mine. Like there's that trope where you got to have sex, you got to do drugs, and you got to have all that. And I was just like, I don't have to do that. I mean, it didn't really fit my place. I mean, I'm in a psychiatric ward, military facility. Who's having sex there? I could have threw some campers outside near the lake.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I could easily have said, well, who needed the sex? I mean, your character.
Yeah, he needed to calm down for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your guy.
But there's no girls, so what is he going to do? Like molest or rape Rose or teen? That wouldn't work, because obviously they wouldn't be willing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah. So that was, but some of them, I mean, part 6, I have my niece watch that one because there's no real nudity at all. There's a sex scene with Darcy DeMoss, but they're not naked at all.
Yeah.
So, but it works for some of them. Obviously, I grew up with it. I just didn't think it worked. Vengeance has nudity. Vengeance 1 and 2.
Right. I can't wait for the second one to come out.
Yeah, I'm in Vengeance 2. So you see the end of the fight. Remember in 1, me and Jason square off. Yeah. You don't see what happens. You see what happens now.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always wondered what I never asked what was going to happen with your character on that one, but I'll be surprised now.
We'll have to wait and see.
And Darcy DeMoss is in it, C.J. Graham. So I remember when me and Jason were talking, he wanted to get Jennifer Cook, who was the girlfriend in 6, but she doesn't act. It's like you can't even get a hold of her. So I was like, why don't we get Darcy, Nikki? And he's like, well, she died. I'm like, did she? Because you saw her head into the mirror thing, but you didn't really see her die.
You can bring almost any character back to life as long as their death wasn't sense. Right.
Yeah. I mean, Laurie Strode chopped off Michael's head and they brought him back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's before they knew that Mustafa Akkad had it in writing that you can't kill the boogeyman. So yeah. But now we're getting Halloween Ends soon. And like I told Alyssa, which I kind of feel bad, but I was like, I wish October would just hurry up. And she's like, but we're getting married, you asshole. And I'm like, I know, but I want to see what happens. Like they built it up. And then it's like you get Halloween 2018, which is like cool. And then you got kills with the flashback scene that, just right on the money. And now you get Ends. And it's everyone hasn't even seen it yet, and they're bitching about it. Like,
the only thing that scares me about that is multiple people, including the directors and the writers, said it's a departure from the norm. So you're like, what the fuck does that mean? And now you have that copycat killer, which is confirmed. What is it, Cody?
Cody.
So you have a copycat killer. Well, I'm pretty sure, and if you look at the trailer, when he pushes the door open, that's Cody because he doesn't have his finger. People are like, they messed up with his fingers. I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's Cody. And then the fact that they're also releasing it at the same time on Peacock, it just scares me. To me, to me in my brain as a producer, I think, well, maybe it's not that strong, and that's why they want to release both.
Well, they did the same thing with Kills, and it made them a lot of money because they didn't know what they were going to do with the pandemic.
Right. But now we're out of it. So and Top Gun did great. So I don't know. Those 3 things are scaring the shit out of me. I want it to be perfect, trust me, but I'm just scared.
I hope they don't do like what they did with Friday the 13th Part 5. When they introduced Roy, they could have made it better, yes, but at the same time with what they gave us, it's just like it fell so flat that they're like, we need Jason back.
100%. That's why Jason Lives was called Jason Lives. To let everyone know he's back.
Well,
he can be forever.
Look at what universe we would be in if Halloween 3 actually works. If Season of the Witch, people would have said, well, Michael died in the second one. Now they're doing something else. This is actually better. We'd get anthology movies. And they tried to do the same thing with Friday the 13th. And it's just like...
You don't mess with the original.
No. They invested too much time into Michael Myers, the character, and...
Yeah. People have said it 100 times, and they're right. If you take Halloween 3 and you call it Season of the Witch, I say 80% of people love the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Where right now, a lot of people hate it just because it's now Michael. But it's not like 5, like you said. 5 lied to us. 3 never told us Michael was in it. But 5, lied to us with the fake Jason. That's what pissed me off.
Well, I mean, Halloween 5 kind of lied to us, too, but we won't go there.
5 is so bad. I got 5 below 6.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, heck, had Jamie Lee Curtis came back for 4, what would the franchise? Would we still have Loomis? Because they were, and I know this isn't got anything to do with what we're talking about, but I just want to shout out to the book Taking Shape. I've read them, and they are badass, dude.
I haven't yet, so you tell me all about it all the time.
That's because
he tells me every day, you need to get the book. You need to get the book.
I will buy the book for you, even though I'm supposed to save some money for.
No, you're getting married.
I will buy that book for you.
There's a podcast, the Slaughtered Lamb. These guys, one guy's from England, one guy's from the United States. They talk about the book extensively over all the movies. They're reviewing them right now. Just like when she said, "Let it burn," that was supposed to be in part 2.
Yeah.
Where she was supposed to say to him, "Let him burn, Michael." Some people think they shot it, but that's what. So there's tons of things that they didn't use in 2, 3, and 4 that they used later.
Well, did you see now there's rounds coming out that John Carpenter actually shot a different ending for Halloween where Michael Myers gets up and runs away. He gets up after being shot and runs away.
That's the other thing that scares me. They said they shot at least 2 different endings because somebody didn't like the screener of one. So now I'm like, oh my God, what's going on now?
At one time they said that they had 3 different ones because they didn't want the ending to get out.
Right. They didn't want people to know which one is what.
Well, not only that, there's also rumors that the theater's going to get one and then Peacock's going to get the second one. That's why they want people to get both.
That would piss people off, you know?
That would be funny. In a way, that would be funny, though. You come home. It's like,
I'll have Peacock for it. I'm going to go still see it in the theater.
I'm going to the theater, coming home and watching it again on Peacock.
Yeah. I'll probably watch it the next day and say, yeah. Now, here you go. Here's a $1 million question. With the rumors going around, what do you think? You think Friday the 13th back?
Too many things to say not. Now, they talked about Cunningham's cameo, but he never updated his cameo in like 5 or 10 years. So that could have been from the 2012 one or 15 or 17 one that they were going to possibly do. But then the text comes out from New Line, Jason Voorhees wants to get a hold of you, and then that was deleted.
So I showed Steven that one. But on Cunningham's post, though, it actually had 2023 right after it in parentheses.
Well, yeah, but he could just be saying that to say that.
But the fact that they both went back and erased it, so it's either one or the other. Either the studio says, "Hey, shut the fuck up and don't talk about it," right? Or 2, you're wrong. Stop doing false advertising. It can't be anything else. It's one or the other.
Because I mean, once that property comes back, and it's gonna take both Victor Miller and Sean Cunningham to stop being children and come together. Because, and I've said this multiple times, this could have been an easy fix even back then. You could have told Victor Miller, okay, I as Sean Cunningham, which I'm not, I'm just saying, people, that Sean Cunningham tells Victor Miller, okay, I'm going to make this a franchise, and here's what we're going to do. I will give you a percentage for the rest of your life.
Right.
How much you want. You want 25%, you want 50%, whatever. I will give you that. And this could have been ended a long time ago. That's why a lot of people said, well, what Happens if this happens to Halloween? It can't, because Malika Cod has it. His dad was smart enough to say, hey, you know, because John Carpenter and Deborah Hill don't want to do this anymore. He buys them out. And then who is the other? Erwin Yablans didn't want a part of it anymore. And Mustafa Akkad comes out being the smartest one of them all, saying, okay, I'll buy you all out. I'll have sole ownership, but I'll give you a percentage if you want it.
Right. That's what's going to happen with, I mean, you think about it, that's what's going to happen with Cunningham and Miller anyways. When they come together, no matter what they do, at some point, they've got to say, how much money goes to you and how much goes to me? It's the same thing, 50-50. It's the same exact discussion you're talking about has to happen or they can't do anything.
Exactly.
Lock them in damn room.
Right.
Well, that's what I said. That's what we said, Mark. You know, get rid of the lawyers, just lock them in a room, and if they don't come out until it's done and it's both written by each other, photographed, signed, sealed, delivered, it's ours.
Now, the question that me and Steven have asked a lot, we ask each other this one a lot, so I'll ask this one. When we do get a new movie, do you think that they need to start over, or do you think that they should, you know, where do you think they should start?
I think if they did one after 2009 within the first few years, you could have done an extension of 2009. I think it's been so long that it's a whole, think about it, you have a whole new kids audience now that never even saw it, that doesn't know. As much as I love Derek Mears, at this point, you've got to go differently. And so you can't really pick up from 9. You can't pick up from 8, 7, 6. So you almost got to redo it like Halloween. You got to do a different timeline and kind of go that route, which is what they did with 2009. They kind of retconned, like they put a 1 through 3 together kind of in that one. And it would have been better if they were going to do Freddy versus Jason versus Ash right after that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever read the comics?
Yeah, oh yeah, they were great.
Yeah, I have those.
Yeah.
I told him about those, and I was like, man, you need to read them. So he went online, found them online, and read them. He was like, oh my god.
Well, that was like the Halloween comics. You found the website, Mark, and I read them, and the Halloween comics are just amazing.
The comics are amazing.
But we're getting a little off topic. So we talked about this earlier, Peter, on the first one we did on the Zoom call when we first had you on this podcast. Go back and tell us how this all started with Roseblood. Like, people want to know that don't know. They want to know this, man.
So Vengeance 2 was going to shoot, and I was talking to Jason Brooks about it, and obviously I was coming back. So he was going to shoot for a week, and then this is exactly what they did. And then they took off a week, and they were going to shoot a week later, right? Bring different actors up and take that week off. So I said, I don't know why. I was like, hey, man, like, while those actors are up there, because Sanaya's up there, and Jason's up there, and Sean's up there, the producer, I'm like, what if I did like a little short? And they're like, I'm like, is that okay with you? Does that like interfere? He's like, no, go ahead. So I'm thinking 20-minute short. And then I went to Riley Lorden, the director of Fall of Camp Blood, and I was like, hey, man, you know, I have an idea of like a continuation of 7, like showing what happened with Tina and stuff, younger Tina. And he's like, oh, that's great. Do it. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, can you direct it? And he's like, why don't you direct it? And I was like, I still don't know how to turn on the camera. I was like, I don't know how to turn on the camera. I didn't go to school. I don't know anything. It's got nothing to do with that. You're a great organizer of people. So he said, that's all you got to do is organize people and put them together and then tell them your vision and passion. So that's kind of what I did. And in 3 days, I wrote it. And then I went back to Jason Brooks. Again, I don't know what I'm doing with writing. He goes, this is a full-length movie. Because I guess 1 page is 1 minute. So I had 128 pages or whatever. So I was like, really? And he's like, yeah. So then I was like, well, can we do it? And he's like, yeah, see what you can do. So then I went to fundraise, and oh, no, I'm sorry. Someone told me they had a Lar Park Lincoln's email, and I was like, hey, I might as well try to see if she'll do it. And I figured I would shoot that scene in the beginning at chest level so that you'd never see the doctor, because anybody could have been the doctor patrolling the room, you know?
Yeah.
So I was like, this is what I do. So I gave her script, and she said, this is crazy. She's like, this is the best Part 8 script I've ever read in 30 years. I said, what? And she's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. She goes, why don't we get Dr. Cruz, Terry Kaiser? I said, we can get him. And she's like, yeah, we got him. And then within a day, she goes, let's call Nick, Kevin Spiritus. We called him. We're running. And now I have all 3 of them. We did the Indiegogo. In 3 days, we raised 30 grand. So, and then it just, dude, then it was like, now, man, I'm sitting in this room, and I'm just like, wow. It's kind of like when you open your mouth, you don't realize what you're doing. So I was like, man, I asked for it, and now this thing got real big, real quick. So I just surrounded myself with people that are way better than me, like Jason Brooks and Cody Newton, who's phenomenal director of photography, and Josh, who's a sound guy who does like Nike commercials and like in Europe. And I just got everyone together, and I think the passion kind of drove it, and we just kept going from there. Honestly, if I could go back and do it, I probably would never do it because I was in over my head. But we 16 hours a day for 7 days and 21 hours the last day. But it worked, man. I think the passion came through. So that was it. Being a big kid, always loving 7. I always hated how at the end they got put in the ambulance. You always wanted to know what happened, you know? And then Part 8 came out, which I don't like. I thought that was shit. I always thought that was a great story. Since Tommy, I thought the Tina story was the best of, like, you're involved in the character, you know? So I was like, I wanted to see that. And then, thank God, I got to make that come true, and most people seem to like it.
Yeah. And then the writing process, was that like something that just came to you like that, or was it like over time that just developed? And sometimes I'm sure you had to erase some things to make it seem a little bit better.
Yeah, I wrote it in 3 days, and then I probably fine-tuned it here and there as we went. But it's weird. I'm very black and white, numbers, yes, no, binary kind of guy. Yeah. So like I'd make a list, and I'd have the actors' names. And what do I want to achieve? I want to achieve Rose and Tina making the audience love them. Okay, I need 3 scenes for that. Okay, but how do you put the general? Put the general and the other MP in the room had the glass being thrown. That's why he gets mad. That's why. So I have all these like people. Like, how do I achieve multiple things while telling a story of these people? Or how to make the general look like an asshole without doing too much? Or how do I make the fast team look bad? He shoulders the guy in the hall. Watch where you're going, Pancho. You don't really need too much. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. I make a like Excel sheet. What do I need to do to achieve this character that you believe in, or you hate this person, or this person's scarier? So like the card scene, I wanted to show the unity of the fast team. So it was sad for them when they died. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Things like that. That's how other people do it differently. But for me, it has to be laid out.
Well, that's one thing I think that me and Mark even talked about when after he told me, he's like, Steven, you know, watch it. And I watched it, and just the development you put into the movie itself, like the character development, you don't get that much anymore. And the one person that does it in Hollywood was Quentin Tarantino the most. He would write out the whole movie and then make the character development the star of the show. You do that in the way that I think a lot of fan films can't. I think they want to get to the nuts and bolts. They want, like, a lot of Halloween fan films that I've seen on YouTube, just they want to get to Michael. And it's like, you can do that, yes, but you have to give the people, these characters, some type of personality. And you did that. You took what happened in 7 and brought it into Roseblood, and that's why you're winning awards, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. I agree with you, but you know, I knew I'd take heat from people that just wanted to see Jason all the way, and I don't blame them. Like people who like Jason X, right? You put it in because you know it's a fun film. He's going to start killing people right off the bat, and that's the way it goes. So, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to build the characters so that you cared about them. Like, I really think when Rose dies at the end, most people were sad. You know, you just didn't want her to die. So, yeah, that was it. I wanted to be vested. It's funny you say Tarantino because it's similar to Tarantino now that you say that, where you build characters and all his ending films are ape shit. And that's kind of how Rosebud ended up.
Alyssa doesn't like him, but you know, I ain't gonna throw her out.
Like the Hateful Eight. I mean, that was all character building until that last 10 crazy 15 minutes at the end.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, like I showed Alyssa Pulp Fiction, and she immediately walked away, and I'm like, "What are you doing? This is a great movie." She's like, "I can't understand it because it goes from like the ending to, you know, and it switches different things." I'm like, "But that's what makes it good."
You want to know something?
Putting these new developments in, they're not in order by no means, right? But at the same time, they kind of are. It's just they're in different places.
He just hops around. So when I watched that movie so many times, and he was on how I always thought something happened in the movie that in my brain I thought it happened a certain way.
Yeah. And
then I saw him on Howard Stern, and he confirmed it. So you remember when Bruce Willis is selling buying the heroin from what's his name?
When John Travolta's character is buying it from Eric Stoltz.
Eric Stoltz. Yeah. He's like, "Hey man," he goes, "this is a buyer's market." And that's a pretty bold statement. He goes, "You know what, man? Somebody keyed my car." He goes, "What?" He goes, "Yeah." This is one of my favorite lines too. He goes, "You know what? It'd be worth him doing it if I could catch him." Meaning, like, I'd kill him so bad, it'd be worth him doing it. So in my mind, when I kept watching the movie over and over, Bruce Willis keyed his car. When he went to see Ving Rhames, he called him Punchy, and his car was outside at that point. If you put the timeline together, I always thought Bruce Willis keyed it, and he admitted it on the Howard Stern show that he did it. I was so happy, man.
Oh, yeah, and the deleted scenes, it even shows him doing it.
Oh, okay, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Also, I just want to ask you this. Did you ever think you were going to win as many awards? I mean, when this movie came out, was that like, hey, I'm going to win an award, maybe, possibly, but you're still racking them up?
Yeah. No, I mean, that's the team, and I'm not trying to be cliche, but that's the team, you know, for sure. The lighting, the sound, the cinematography, Lar Park Lincoln, you know, Terry Kaiser, Jason Brooks is Jason. My God, I thought it was Kane at certain times. So that's a team victory. If you've ever been on a movie set, so many people are working so hard. It really is a team thing. And no, I didn't think that. So it's nothing. It's overwhelming. It's fun.
Oh, I always see when you do your YouTube things on there, like the messages or whatever, when they show up the posts, you're never taking credit.
No, because I couldn't do it
on the team.
I couldn't do it without them. Yeah, these guys are so good, you know, so good. Even like the greatest thing that happened with me is I listened a lot. You have 2 ears and one mouth for a reason, right? So I have this really passionate vision of what I think is going to happen. And then Cody Newton, who's the director of photography, is like, it's not going to work. Because this is what I learned. Writing a script and screenplay are two completely different things, like how it actually plays out, you know? So he changed the end scene with Michael. I had Michael on the side and the girls on a chair. He put Michael behind her, which is how we got that reveal shot. There's a lot of times where he'd say, I think you're wrong. This is why. And I would listen. And 9 out of 10, we would change. I let everybody put input in. And I think the movie got better because of it.
Yeah. That's the biggest difference about directors. Sometimes they don't always listen.
Right.
They'd rather do it just their own way because they got a certain vision. But if you listen, sometimes it can come out better.
It can. Especially now, imagine me never shooting a film, never writing a film, never directing a film. How could I not listen to somebody who did 30? You know what I'm saying? You'd be an asshole not to.
You definitely got a lot of producer credits now.
Yeah, for sure.
I was looking on your IMDb, and I was like, there's one in there called The Box.
Yeah, England.
Okay, I was like, I'm gonna have to check that one out.
It's pretty good. Matt, I forgot Matt's last name, but Matt sold 180 horror books, so he's well known in England. He made the Box, which is like a low budget film that was really good. Hey, did you guys watch? I didn't direct it, but I was in it. Fall Camp Blood. What do you think of that one?
Yeah,
a little lower budget than Rosebud, but
yeah, I was gonna bring that one up next.
Yeah, go ahead, shoot away.
Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, because I know that one took longest to actually do because of COVID and doing all that stuff.
Because of this scar right here too. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark. Not to cut you off, but I'm gonna call you out on this. Mark used to bitch and moan and complain about how long it took for that movie to come out. And
I'm not saying I didn't. I'm not saying I bitched about that.
Hey, you have a right.
I told them.
I put money down on it. I was like, okay, I helped the Kickstart or fund crowd, and I was like, okay, it's already a year. Where's it at? And then all of a sudden you started seeing we'll be getting something new here soon. We'll be talking about it and talking about. Finally, it popped out. I was like, oh man.
Well, remember Mark when I told you it was coming soon? You know who told me it was? Peter. Peter told me in the first one after I kissed his ass so many times. I felt bad in that first interview, dude. Like so many people ask me, they're like, dude, like why? And it's like because he's such a good spirited guy. I mean, people see me right here and they think, oh, it's about Steven. No, I have people behind the scenes like my fiance who's going to be my wife soon. I have a best friend. I have Mark. I mean, hell, Mark was the one that said, hey, why don't you have Peter back on the show? And that was when we did the first interview. And
dude, if it was all about me, I wouldn't follow you. And you don't go on a lot. And you went on. You're like, hey, man, I haven't been in the show. I'm like, dude, you want to do a show? I'm ready. I was like the first person to answer you. I'm the first person that posted. I'm like, you want to do a show? We'll talk about you all show. I don't care. I'm just a big fan.
I couldn't do that because Peter, you are such a down-to-earth guy that like when Mark and I had the Poor Boys podcast, he's like, hey, Steven, I want to run this by you. Can we have Peter Anthony on the show? I'm like, Mark, if you can get him, you're the leader. I'm just me. You're the leader. And he's like, okay. He gets you on there, and we have the best time. And then I told Mark, I'm like, when I went on my own, because it's like Mark was kind of in a different situation. I was in the different situation. I was kind of like, you know what? I still have my podcast, but Mark, if you want to come on, I want you on there.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And so then
all Camp Blood is when I tore my shoulder off. Pretty
Tell
bad.
us more about that,
So in the fight scene, when I have that fight scene in the bar, so that gentleman's Jonathan Ivey. He has 150 MMA fights. He fought Ken Shamrock. He fought everyone. He's no joke.
Jesus.
So my body's shot over the years from lifting and stuff like that. So in the scene, I have to grab a bottle, right? Remember, I hit him with the bottle. So what you have to do is grab a real bottle twice and swing it and stop it an inch from his head. You got to do that a couple scenes because if you grab a fake one and try to do that, the handle will pop off.
Yeah,
from the force of the swing. So I did one, and then I went and did two, and it went, and I just looked down like this, and I looked at Riley. I go, my shoulder's done, bro. And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, it's done. I'm like, I can't lift it. So there's 4 rotator cuffs on your shoulder. I tore 1, 2, 3 off the bone. I snapped my bicep off the bone. It rolled down. I dislocated my shoulder. I pulled my trap. My arm was barely connected to me, and I could barely lift it. And man, it hurt. But there's 11 people there from like 6 different states. They hired to do the bar. In my head, I'm like, dude, it's already fucked, you know? Like, I already have to have surgery. So we did, I don't know how many more takes. And I have to throw that right hand at him. It was like popping out of place or whatever. I had to put it like an inch near him, that whole thing. I went back to the hotel. We had to go back and do the scene where I get stabbed through the stomach at like 3 o'clock in the morning. And by then, if you ever hurt yourself, when you actually go down and lay down for a minute, and then it swelled, I couldn't put my shirt on. They put my shirt on for me because I couldn't pick my arm up. We shot that scene. I flew back to New York. I went to the doctor 2 days later, and a week later, I had all of them put back on. And 3 months after that, I'm supposed to wait 9 months. I went back out there and shot that barn scene where I'm on the ground crawling in the dirt.
Wow. That just goes to show that you gave it your all for your craft.
Yeah, it's tough to let people down, you know, like, because, you know, I don't want to be the guy that ruins everything, you know?
Yeah. I understand that.
I thought the Don Ivy scene, he was phenomenal. It looks like I throw him. I can't throw him. My shoulder's not even attached. I'll send you guys the behind the scenes. He just jumps over the table. Yeah. You know, it was great. It was great. I thought that movie was so Rosebud's its own entity. I mean, Riley was 22 years old when he started that. And I mean, that has a way more campy feel than Rosebud. You really feel like an 80s campy feel, I think, with that movie. Yeah.
I mean, and then also, you know, after you're done with Rosebud, was it like a big, massive, like, oh, I'm done with it. Let's see how people like it, see if they don't like it, whatever. No, or was it like, I'm done. I don't care what people say, but you know what? I've done what I've done. I've made this baby. Time to release it to the world and see what it does.
The editing process starts, which I had never done before. Mm-hmm. And for somebody who is a perfectionist, that is a meticulous thing, like beyond a description. I mean, Cody would edit it with me, and he'd send it to me. And he goes, so on Vimeo, he'd send you the movie, and I would make 200 edits, including sound. I have to go find sounds and then take the sounds and put them down. He'd send it back 400 edits. He sent it back 200 edits, 100 edits, 2 more 100. There was over like 2,000 edits from what we thought was the final film to make all the sounds, all the cuts, everything. It's so much work. I never realized how much work that is. So yeah, I was excited, but then I was like drained. But then the premiere happened, and that was the moment you're talking about, because I stand up. We get a standing ovation. There's 200 people there, and Laura and Kevin and Terry, my family's there, and Sean was there, and we hugged, and me and Jason was like, you know, that was it. That was like, we finally did it, you know.
That was what I was going to ask. How, you know, what it was like, you know, for the premiere, because I seen the pictures and everything on Facebook, and I wish I lived closer where I could have went to that. That would have been awesome.
It was dream come. I was so busy, but it was a dream come true. And we had Cody Huskins, who's a cosplayer. He's known in the F-13. He was part 7, walking around in costume. Mm-hmm. So that was awesome. And then everybody got to sign stuff, and tons of my family went over to Terry Kaiser because he was in Weekend at Bernie's, so that's how they knew him a lot. Yeah, you know, he signed a bunch for that. We cut the cake, we had the food, then we had an after party for food after that, and then we had another after party back at the hotel. So I was up to like 5 a.m. So it was phenomenal. It went better than I thought. I'm so blessed that we have this horror community family thing. I mean, people paying $150 for VIP tickets and driving out there with their kids. I had kid bags for anybody that had kids. It's just awesome to see the community. It's like if you guys ever gone to a convention, it's the same thing. You get that real family feel.
I might go to that one that Mick Foley's going to be at here in Minnesota. I might. It depends, because Minnesota right now down the cities isn't really safe.
Well, I know some of the conferences, they're, you know, it depends on what type of conference. But I was going to ask you what it's like being at the, you know, a horror conference altogether, because I seen you, a couple weeks ago, you were doing the one with Daniel Harris.
And Kane.
Oh, yep. Yes, and Kane, yes.
Yeah.
That's another one. I always thought that in one of your movies, I really thought that he was just going to make a cameo or something. Dude. I swear, it just sounded like something that would have happened in your.
You know how many times I've made videos begging him to do it, The thing with him is, and I get it, he's SAG, so Screen Actors Guild Union. If you do a non-union film, they can pull your SAG card. So they can pull all the money you make on residuals. They can pull everything from you. So I totally get it. So I've asked him so many times. I've asked him to be Jason and Rosebud. So, so you guys have never been to a show ever? A horror convention?
No, I've never been to a horror.
What are you guys doing,
that's why I asked you. I asked you if there was one coming to Florida that you were going to be in. You said, no, you're not coming to Florida. You might be at a football game.
Yeah. The Dolphins, yes. But there's one. What part of Florida are you from?
I'm about an hour away from Tampa.
There's one in Ocala. Spooky
yes,
something?
that's the 17th or something like that. Yeah.
One's in Orlando and one's in Ocala. So there's something near you.
Ocala is real close to me.
Oh, then that's coming up. You should go to that one.
Yeah, I was thinking of that. What was it? It was Brown Street Comic Books that's helped promoting it. And
okay.
I used to get comic books from them before I got somebody closer, and then I was like, okay, might as well, because I've never been to one, so I want to see what it's like and hopefully see somebody good.
Yeah, Kane usually goes to that spooky one. I don't know if
he's not. I didn't see it on his schedule because I was looking to see which ones he was going to be at. Damn, I never find him in Florida.
Yeah, he does. It's weird. Sometimes on his schedule there's not one, but if you go to whatever that event is, you can find him. So it's weird like that. Like I didn't know he was going to be at that Scream one in Boston until somebody else told me, and I was like, what? And then I went there, hung out with him, Danielle, Ari. They had a really good cast. Ari Lyman was there. There was a lot of good people there.
Yeah, I got some great pictures.
Thanks. Yeah, Nick Castle. I'm like, hey, we redid you in Rosebud. He's like, yeah, I saw it. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, I saw it at the end. I'm like, oh, can you sign it? I was like a little kid. Yeah.
Hey, Mark, you gonna show Peter the thing he won from one of his contests?
That's it right there, right?
It's right there.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry.
I was shocked when I got that one. When I seen that on Mark Binset won this, I'm like, holy.
Well, the night that me and Peter did the first interview, he had to go run and then do a giveaway that same night on YouTube. I went and watched it and just commented, just trying to be a silly bastard that I am. And I was waiting for Peter to be like, oh, hey, I see who's in here now.
Sometimes I don't see the comments depending on what show I'm on.
Yeah.
When he did this one, he got really sick.
Yeah.
So he didn't have a voice and stuff like that. So he said, screw it. I'm just going to put it in this little thing and then, press and see who won.
That's exactly what happened. I had COVID.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
I was coughing up my lung. It was crazy.
And the thing is, like, people always thought when me and you were trying to reschedule this, people would literally think that I was blaming you for that. And I'm like, no, it's on me. Peter's always down. Like there was one person and they messaged me and said, oh, Peter would do it in a heartbeat. And I'm like, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, it's on me. Like there's times where, and people have known this. And if you look at any of my episodes lately, it's been all in a flux because I deal with mental health issues. So it's kind of like, sometimes it's like, am I doing the right thing? And I know when I first had you on the show, Peter, you're like, you're doing it. Just keep being you.
Keep doing
it. And it's like, there's so many other people out there that are like, oh, well, in 4 months, my podcast was already leagues better than yours. And it's like, okay, I understand that. But at the same time, you had sponsors where I'm starting from scratch. Granted, I could get sponsors on what I'm on now, but it's just like, then you got to talk to them. And to me, it's hard to talk.
But why wouldn't that person show you? Let's say they were better than you. Let's just say it theoretically, right? Or why wouldn't they show you what they did to help you instead of putting you down with it? I never.
Well, and that's the thing. Like when I did YouTube channel at first, because I wanted to get into the gaming scene because I love it. But then at the same time, there was so many people that were like, I would talk to them and be like, hey, could you give me some pointers? And just no time of the day.
Yeah.
And like I told Mark, I was like, that's one thing I liked about Peter, because it was never about, when you get better or anything like that. No, it was always, I'm down. And then it was on me to schedule it. And then something would come up. And then, the last time we had something concrete Alyssa's grandmother passed away, so then I had to go do that. And then it's just like now the wedding's coming up, and I'm like, I got to get Peter and Mark on the show before the wedding, because it's like once I'm on the honeymoon, that's all that. And then once we get back, we're trying to get out of where we're at now and move into our own home. So it's just like everything came down, and I'm just like, you know what? I got to get this to paper. I said, I want to get Peter on here because he wants to be here. Mark wants to be there and help interview too. And I was like, you know what? I got to do it. I got to buck up. And today I almost ended up in the hospital today because every stressor that's on me right now, I was having dizzy spells, which I normally get because I've had concussions multiple times. But at the same time, it was bad. And my mom and my fiance and my dad were to the point where they're like, you're going to have to cancel. And I'm like, I can't. And finally, like a message from God, it got better. And
did you play sports? Is that how you got concussions?
Oh, yeah. I played in high school.
They played without the helmet.
Well,
yeah.
Shut up, Mark.
What, hockey?
No, football. I was also a wrestler, and then I played baseball as well. And I played
football.
My sophomore year, I was stealing bases and almost had the record. Well, I tied the record, and my left knee went like this. And yeah, it pretty much killed my junior year.
So my junior year, I had all the records, football. And then Syracuse came to me and offered me a full ride. And then, I snapped my leg, my ankle, my knee went down. My ankle came back and landed on my chest the wrong way.
Yeah.
So I tore my ACL, MCL, LCL. I tore my artery. I almost died. I had 7.5 hour surgery. I've had 23 surgeries on that knee since then. And I've had it replaced, and I have blood clots.
Yeah.
So that's just my knee. I got 39 on my body.
I almost lost that one.
Yeah. Same with me. So I've been there. I limp all the time. I got to get it drained all the time with blood. And
like, I always get a kick out of her family. They're like, well, you're so young. And I'm like, hey, it's not the age, it's the mileage.
Yeah. I got my knee replaced at 35.
Yeah.
I got my hip replaced at 30.
Yeah. Wow. But they're great with the hips, right? Whoever got a hip, people tell me like in a week or two, they're great.
Well, it would have been great if the doctor wouldn't have pinched a nerve in the back of my knee to where my foot was a drop foot for over 3 hours, 3 years. And then it started to get better, but I still have pain in the leg. So it's a little bit harder. That's why I won't let them do the other hip.
Right.
And then
get a better doctor.
Yeah. I don't go to the same doctor anymore. I go to a sports doctor now.
That's where you got to go to, man. Yeah. Get better.
Steven, you want to see his face on this one? Okay. He was the one that told me about the game, but Killer Clowns.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm wondering how they're going to do it. But then at the same time, like, I'm looking forward to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. I'm looking forward to Gotham Knights. The new college game that's coming out next year. Like, oh man, I'm so excited.
When I seen the video for that, I was like, oh my god.
And that was a campy as hell movie back in its day. And I love it. I love it.
It's 3 versus 7. I think it'll work because they have all their little guns and the cocoons and all that popcorn and all that shit like that. And then you have 7 other people.
Chainsaw the game. It's supposed to be like 4v3 or something, and
4 versus 3. Yeah,
Like there was even supposed to be a Crow game at one point, but
I thought it was funny though because I went inside Spirit Halloween, and I sent Peter a video of one of the clowns.
Oh, yeah.
I had to. Of course, I sent it to my sister too, who's afraid of clowns. So
it was Shorty, right? Which one was it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I can't wait to collect them next.
I played that movie for my niece because again, no nudity, no sex.
Yeah.
And she was like, because I remember watching it when I was little. There's some scary scenes in there, like when the guy's using the cop as like a puppet. That was kind of scary.
Your niece probably didn't think it was scary enough.
Yeah, no, she's not like me yet. I'm kind of like forcing her. The first scary movie I made her watch was oh my god, who's the guy? He's a bug killer. He wears that black mask. His eyes are like diamonds. They reflect. There's 2 different movies of him. He puts people in a box and locks them up. He was in the house.
The Collector?
Yes, the collector and then the
I've
collection.
seen
I made her watch those. She was scared shitless watching those.
Do like what my dad did when I was a kid. When I was born in 1993, so in 1998 when H2O came out, you know how AMC would every Halloween would come out with those movies. Yeah. I'm 6 or 5 years old, and I get met with Michael Myers, and that to this day, people are like, "Well, why do you like horror movies?" And I'm like, "Because they scared me."
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't watch that shit until one day I forced myself after like high school. I had just graduated. I'm like, you know what? If I can't watch these movies, I'm done with horror. So what I did was I locked myself in my room when I was living with my dad at the time, turned off all the lights, unplugged them except for the TV, and I watched Halloween, the very first one.
Which is the scariest one.
Shit out of me, and I'm like, that's why I want to keep watching these. And when I first met Alyssa, her version of horror was The Conjuring and Insidious movies, which them are amazing.
Yeah, so it's Conjuring. Yeah.
Well, my first one was the original Friday the 13th. I was scared to death. You know, I was like, 6, 7 years old. You know, my second one my mom had me watch was Humanoids. I don't know if you know that.
Humanoids from the Deep?
Yeah.
No, that's Chud.
No, Chud. Humanoids.
Okay, yeah, that's different. Chud is different.
Yeah.
Because I know there's Humanoids from the Deep, and that's the one with like the half man, half fish, and they go after the women or whatever.
Oh yeah,
that movie would not fly nowadays.
No, but I'm surprised I'm surprised they're still making movies.
Oh God, I showed Alyssa Blazing Saddles, and she's like, "Oh my God, that movie would not be made today." I'm like, "Hell no, it wouldn't."
No way. Even Spaceballs is a little risque.
I still love that one though.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I wish they would have made a second one because I know that he wanted
to. He wanted to, but the guy who plays the Han Solo type character did.
Lone Star?
Yeah. Lone Star didn't want to do it.
Oh, what's his name? He was in Independence Day. And Serpent and the Rainbow.
Yeah, he's the president.
But you know, they could have got somebody else, not had him in it, you know.
But then you would have had to explain. That's like with Tremors. You know, they want Kevin Bacon in so bad, but now that Fred Ward passed away, it's kind of hard now because now Kevin Bacon's like, well, Fred's gone. Earl's gone.
Not only that, the what's his name died in the camera, at least on the last one.
Bert.
Yeah, Bert died, like sacrificed himself in that last one, which was okay. That was a good one.
But now supposedly they're talking about because they said, well, you died at the end of that last one. He's like, anything can happen.
Right.
They could have said I moved out of the way.
Yeah. So the first one's a masterpiece.
Oh, it is. The best.
And his wife was that country singer.
Reba McEntire.
Yeah, that's funny.
And Val's to-be wife was she's related to Jimmy Carter.
Oh, okay.
Finn Carter, yeah. I didn't even know that until that's how bad my life is. Like, I'll look at these people and then you see them like on ER or something and you want to know what they're doing.
Yeah. Back to H2O. How do you guys feel about that? I'll watch H2O one time and think, hey, it's probably the 4th or 5th best in the series. And then I watch H2O another time, like, man, this fucking movie's boring as hell until like the final act. I'm like always like torn when I watch it.
Someone asked me.
Yeah.
They're like, and me and Mark will have discussions with another friend of ours, Paul, and they'll be like, what do you think they should have done? And I said,
the mask. They should have made the mask way better.
Yeah, that K2 mask sucked.
There's 5 different versions in them. They all suck. There's the CGI version in that one.
Yeah.
Well, as time went on, you notice that the mask got worse.
It changes. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, to have those big eye pockets, that's so crazy. I mean, Loomis says he has the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. And now you show him with regular eyes. It doesn't make any sense.
You know, the thing that always got me, and I may be in the minority about this, I'm fine with that. Why did they have to make them siblings? That to me, like, I'll watch Halloween 2 and I'll sit there and I'll be like, okay, this is so good. And then they get to that part where he says what happened. Or
you read the book. It should have told you.
Yeah, John Carpenter got drunk. Yeah, he didn't want to do it. I understand that. But at the same time, and John Carpenter to this day still says he hates it. But at the same time, you know, he did it because he didn't want to do it. So he decided, well, I might as well do it.
Well, that's why I liked yeah,
18.
Why I like the Halloween 2018 is because they go
had
into
to, because you have to explain, okay, Jamie's gone now, even though supposedly now, I don't know if I could ever meet Danielle Harris. I'd love to ask her now that she's kind of calmed down about not being brought back into the fold. I would love to ask her, like, even though they didn't ask you and you were in the Rob Zombie version films, would you have ever said, okay, maybe if I don't go to Rob, maybe if I wait, do you think they would have contacted you?
She did want to be in the Kill or Ends.
Well, I know she did.
Tried.
She wanted to be in 18. She wanted to be in Kills. She wants to be in this one. But at the same time, what I honestly think it was when she came out and did that shoot interview and all that, kind of it. And I'm not saying she wasn't wrong, but it kind of killed anyone wanting to really work with her, except for, you know, like Peter Anthony.
I'd work with her any day of the week.
Oh, I would too.
Hey,
but at the same time, you need, like I always used to say to you, Mark, her character Jamie wasn't even in the original script of 4. She was a bit character at most, but because Jamie Lee Curtis said no, where were you going to go with it?
Right. Now, Halloween Ends. Here's my little take, and you want to talk about controversial and being in the minority. I'm pretty sure I'm right, but maybe I'll be wrong. I think in Ends, they're going to play it out that Michael is going for her. Now, whether they say it's her sister, I doubt it, or I don't know. But how can you deny it? He takes her hand and tries to put it into the fucking garbage disposal. Why? Because she blew off his fingers and she was trying to get back with him. And 2 days ago, they released the other shot where he had the sewing needle that she stabbed him with in one, and he's holding her, trying to stab her in the same exact spot that she stabbed him. So how could that not be vengeance? How could that not be him going back?
And I told Mark, I said, you know how they could have done it without saying they're siblings in 2? He was pissed because she got away.
Right, but piss doesn't really go with, you know.
Well, because he was able to kill the other people, you had one that got away.
Right.
Any killer will tell you the one that got away, they wish they would have gotten her.
Right.
So you could have done that. There's so many different ways they could have went, but it is what it is. And I mean,
I love to.
Oh, I loved it too.
Was scary as shit.
Oh yeah. The only part, or the thing that really got me was Halloween Kills. So I didn't think it needed to be the evil dies tonight throughout the whole damn movie.
No.
But I wasn't
thrilled. The whole 30-minute thing where they're trying to find the guy in a hotel and he's outrunning people. He looks like the Penguin from fucking Batman Returns, and he's outrunning everyone, and no one knows what he looks like when they showed both their faces on the fucking thing.
On top of that, Lori had to have went to the court and stuff, and they had to have seen him without the mask.
Right.
So
I mean, that's like,
plus he has the eye scar, you know.
Yeah. I mean, how would you be able to not tell that Mr. Tavalli is Michael?
How does he run from everybody in a hospital up like 20 flights of stairs and hides and locks himself? Nobody can.
Michael gets stabbed in the eye with the coat hanger. He gets stabbed in the neck. You're going to see that. And like, I always get a kick out of it when people are like, well, how did Michael survive all that shit to begin with?
Yeah.
Because like Loomis Slayer says in 4, the human inside him died.
I think that they're going to do it again on this one. They're going to show that he can't die.
Well, this one's going to be less gory and more like stalkish.
Right. Well, that's why they always go back to one, because it's so well. That's what people want.
I'm still wondering, because you got all those rumors out, and we talked about this one, but they kept saying that one of the rumors was that Cody was going to be Michael's son, and I'm like, please no.
I heard that.
I'm like, please no. I don't think it'd be right, but if they can make it work, it'd be different. But
that's what scares me, because remember, they all said departure from the norm.
Yeah.
So I bet you some of those scenes where you see Michael fighting Lori, that it's either a dream or that it's that dude Corey, because she's wearing the same shit she was wearing in 78. That seems like too neat and too perfect, right? It's weird. Like, how would that happen?
Yeah, that would be one good way. But Do you think Lori lives or dies?
I think she has to die.
I want her to die.
Yeah.
I honestly, my final ending, I want them both to die, and it just is a poetic, awesome ending. But how could they both live? It's, one of them's got to go. So
Exactly. And
yeah.
you know, Stephen was like, "Well, what if you know, she dies, and you know, you have the granddaughter,
Allison,
take over and be her, and she's the one that kills Michael." I don't think that would be poetic right there. I think it would be.
I think the audience, you would really piss off the audience because they want, because I mean, Laurie Strode in Halloween Kills is a fucking throwaway character. She doesn't do shit in that film. So this is the build up for this. If they don't deliver with her on this, you know, people will kill them. Because she,
I think Hawkins
you can honestly remove her parts from the movie in Halloween Kills, and the story is still the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think Hawkins is going to be the one, because even in Kills he says I need to be the one to do it.
Right.
And you wouldn't be satisfied with that though, would you?
Oh no, I wouldn't be, but at the same time I think that's what's going to happen.
Jamie Lee Curtis did say it would piss off a lot of people on how it ends.
Yeah, so, that's what everyone's saying. Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see exactly how it ends. I can't wait, but then again, you know,
when I was in the theater, Mark and Steven, for Halloween Kills, I was sitting there with a bunch of guys. We go every one, and when they did that fucking throwback to '78, man, I was like a little kid. I'm like, oh, because it never leaked. It never fucking leaked. I didn't know that was going to happen.
Well, we were supposed to get a flashback scene, but we didn't know what. Like, we saw the Lonnie Elam, the character that was going to play him, in like a few scenes from like the We Watched a Movie fan page and all that. But at the same time, we just thought, oh, wow, so it's just going to be like Lonnie sees him, that's it. But the way they did it, and my fiance and I went with two friends to go see it, and it's just like, oh my God.
He looked phenomenal too. He looked phenomenal.
And I swear to God, if the guy who is that character, because it's not James Jude Courtney under that mask.
No, he's going to a show now. They have him going to a show, to a con. Yep.
If they do not kill Michael and they wait a little bit, get that guy to be Michael, your next Michael, because they're not going to do old man Michael after this. I was shocked about that. Like when me and Mark were talking, I'm like, when 2018 first came out and they're like, oh, well, this is going to be the 40th anniversary. I'm like, Michael's going to be goddamn 60 some years old. And the guy still takes an ass whooping. It's like,
look at Jason.
Yeah.
How old's he?
80?
Yeah, but you can't do that with him.
Yeah, but he's immortal.
Yeah.
No.
If you go by the comics, he's immortal.
Well, Michael's immortal now. After that last kill scene, and then Laurie narrates, well, he's now transcended from something human to something else. Obviously, I mean, they shot him 6 times. She puts the knife in the back of his skull, and he gets up. You know, the other thing, how stupid, the lady with the fucking iron. Are you kidding me? That was written. You imagine we have production meetings and you sit down. Okay, this guy's got a bat. Okay, this guy's got a revolver. Okay, we're gonna have Mary with the iron with the cord hanging out. Oh, great idea. Let's put that in. Someone get me an iron. Like, are you shitting me?
Only that, but the throwaway line by fucking Brackett.
Oh, the trick or treat. Yeah.
Everyone's entitled to one last good scare. It's like, really, like, you're gonna kill this guy? Give him something good, like for Annie.
Even when Michael got up and killed everyone, it was like a weird dream montage, right? It was like really weird.
Yeah, right. I loved when she put the mask down, and when he sees all those people, the first thing he cares about is putting the mask back on. It's like, I see that. I'm sorry, but I'm backing the fuck off. Like, I will literally be like, you know what, Michael? I know you're gonna kill me, but I'm on your side right now, man. I
didn't care for the Tommy character, the way that they wrote him.
Terrible.
Yeah,
terrible.
They threw away so many good characters, but now they're saying they're gonna possibly the same thing's gonna happen to Lindsay in this one, and it's like,
you're gonna have to.
Really, why would you throw her away? Like,
because you can't have that many.
The legacy characters they brought back for Kill. Yeah. Remove the stupid hospital thing with that guy. That's 20 minutes. Remove all the extra evil kills. Build on Tommy in another 20 minutes with those legacy characters. That would have been so much better. Why bring them back to throw them away?
You know, the guy that Tavaldi died in real life.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he had cancer.
Oh, okay.
And that was his final, I guess, when they did that scene.
That was his final. Yeah. See, I'm still trying to convince you to, you know, what your next movie, whatever it is, put me in it and just have me killed. You know.
Yeah. Okay, Mark.
One day I will do that.
I'd make a more convincing killer than you would. I'm sorry.
No, get killed. He said. I think,
everybody wants to kill me. Get it right.
It's funny when people who don't know horror, they're like, well, when someone gets the part, are they excited? I said, when someone gets a part in the film, their first question is, how am I going to die? That's what everybody always asks. How am I going to die? You know, because you want to die cool, you know?
I just want it's on my bucket list. I want to be killed by Jason in a movie. You know, it's on my bucket list. If it gets checked off or not, you know, it's here to be said.
What's your favorite kill, Mark and Steven in Rosebud?
God damn, he asked me this question the first time.
You didn't watch it. You didn't watch it like you said you were going to, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I haven't watched it since the second time in a long while.
There's a few, but I really like how you died.
Oh, the eyeball and then the neck? Yeah.
I think I liked how Rosebud died.
Well, yeah.
That one was my
two favorite.
There's so many, but to just be put on the spot.
The Julian face rip. And then the empty strang losing his hand and then getting killed, having a little skeleton who's screaming like a little girl. I thought that was cool too.
All I can say is if we ever come up with an idea and I have you produce a movie, I don't care how I die. Just, you know, do like what they did to Loomis in 4 where they throw him through the door. That would be good enough for me. You wouldn't even have to say it. You wouldn't have to show my death. I'd just throw me through a freaking door.
Yeah.
I look at what they did with Loomis in Kills. I loved how they did it. They had one actor doing it and then another actor doing the voice. It was freaking awesome.
The voice kind of needs to
Yeah. Michael killed again.
Yeah, that's that was the part that kind of screwed it. Like when he first says the lines, it's good, but when he goes in there, he's like, Hawkins, did he kill again? Like
it doesn't like match properly. It doesn't exactly sound like him either.
But if you looked at it the first time, though, it was like, okay, you know, they did a good job at voicing him and making somebody look like him. You know, it was really awesome.
That was the singer's son, Tony Bennett's son. That's who that is.
Really?
You know Tony Bennett, the old singer? That's his son. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, you know, the one thing that I cannot forgive Jamie Lee Curtis is in Halloween 18 when she looks at Sartain and says, "New Loomis." If I would have been Michael or like anyone on that scene, as soon as they said cut, and I don't condone this, but I would have slapped her. Like how?
It was written for her. It was written for her. So you got to slap the writer, right?
I know, but come on, like, how can you do that to Donald Pleasance? Like, Donald Pleasance is every time I hear Halloween, I want Donald Pleasance in there.
Yeah. Even in the shitty 5 and 6, he still holds it together. Like you care when he's on screen. Like he's the only one.
4 had Jamie Lee Curtis came back for 4 in Taking Shape. They already said that Loomis doesn't come back. Right. Like he would have told them. In the hospital scene, they would have found him before he died, and he said, let him burn, not knowing that Michael survives.
Right.
So it's
that would just be his death in there?
Yeah. If it would have went the way they wanted to. Because Carpenter and Hill would have still been in the mix of it.
You ever see the deleted scenes of one where he's in front of the board talking about Michael? And then the other one where he's the little kid looking out the window?
The TV footage that they show on television. He's telling Michael in the room, he's like, well, you really fooled them, didn't you, Michael? But you didn't fool me.
Yeah.
I wish
which makes Rob Zombie's one kind of work more now, if you think about it. You know, if that was in.
Yeah. I mean, Rob Zombie's Malcolm McDowell Loomis was kind of like Loomis in 5 5.
Part 1, but part two was I got it at the bottom of all the Halloweens. The Rob Zombie 2. I mean, Loomis becomes a self-centered, egotistical asshole, which is totally against him, and Laurie becomes a fucking maniac, which she was nothing like. You know.
I wasn't thrilled about that, and then she finds out in the second one that she's, you know, they kept brother and sister in it, and it was like, I mean, it would have worked out better if they would have done it that way. You know, down the line that Laurie found out that he is her brother in a book or, you know, something like that. That would have been interesting too. But I mean, it's just, that one of Rob Zombie's is at the bottom of my list.
Yeah, and then the white horse with the mother and like
I did not like that one at all.
Yeah.
Any Rob Zombie movie you ever want to see, just know that Cheryl Moon Zombie's probably going to show an ass cheek.
Yeah. Hey,
And I'm sorry.
Hey, who's gonna argue? I'm not.
Yeah.
No, she was hot in House of a Thousand Corpses.
Devil's Rejects too. Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
Yeah. That one was really good.
Yeah. Like, 3 from Hell was not.
No. I felt so bad for Sid Haig. Like, that's his final movie because he died during it. And
I got a video with me and him in Massachusetts at Scaricon, and he's singing. It was like 2 or 3 years before he died. He was singing in the VIP lounge a song. They gave him the mic. He started singing an old school classic song. I got it on video. It was pretty cool.
You know, he gets punched out by Joe Namath and CC Ryder.
Oh, yeah? He's also in Boone Tomahawk. You ever seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
No.
Oh, man. That movie's phenomenal.
Is that with Trejo?
No, Kurt Russell's in it. The guy from Lost, and there's a ton of great actors in that movie. Watch that movie, Boone Tomahawk.
I don't know if you've ever seen it, Mark, but Peter probably has the Mariachi series.
No.
El Mariachi, Desperado.
I've seen those. Yeah.
Them are amazing.
Yeah.
But, you know, we've been doing this for an hour. Peter, thank you so very much, man.
Thank you both.
You know, I know we didn't get to nuts and
hold
bolts.
on. One more question.
Go ahead, Mark.
All right. Now, I know you have Roseblood.
Yeah.
You actually plan on any sequels for it?
Rosebud 2, maybe. I've spent so much money. I went 80 grand in debt. So I think if I do a Rosebud 2, it'll be after my next film. There's a film I'm going to do called Laugh with Terry Kaiser and Todd Jenkins. And that's going to be like an Amazon release. Like, that's the hope, at least, or a Shudder release or something like that. Actually make money and then go back and do 2, because I'm just broke spending my own money putting into fan films. Don't get me wrong, I love it, but at some point the skill set I learned has to pay me off. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, as soon as you get that one done, you want to go to Amazon, we'll come with you.
All right.
We'll get you that deal, because it's so stupid that they don't, you know.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many better filmmakers on YouTube. You're one of them that are making better fan films than what we're getting. But you know, if they want to shit on people, the low people, that's why they make their money. That's why Netflix is floundering right now. That's why HBO Max just canceled the movie, and now they're hinging everything on.
They canceled Catwoman. I wanted to see him as Batman again, man. That's fucking pisses me off.
Ezra Miller, they will not cancel Flash because of. I'm sure they have it in there that if they cancel that movie, they are going to lose it, because
they lost a lot off of Batgirl.
Batwoman. Yeah. Or Batgirl, whatever it was going to be called.
Well, that's one of the other things. They canceled it because the movie was shit. That's really what it is. If the movie was super strong, they would have released it, but it cost like another 20 or 30 million to release it and promote it, and they're figuring it's not going to do good. We're going to lose money, so we're not going to do it.
I wish they would have canceled.
I was telling him one of the reasons that they gave in an interview is because when they did the testing, that nobody knew who Batman was.
Michael Keaton's Batman.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, most people know who Batman is.
Blame that on the parents that don't show their kids these movies. That's the way I look at it.
And I was like, okay, that's not fair. Why don't you just take him out and put, somebody that they know in it, like they did with.
But honestly, I think 40% of that audience, me included, would have watched that movie because of Keaton. If he wasn't in it, I'm not watching Batgirl.
I told Mark, I said, if they don't get Keaton, do Nightwing. Have Michael.
I want Nightwing. He's my favorite. He's my
Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, he's my favorite superhero or comic.
I mean, Michael Keaton. The thing that people don't understand with Michael Keaton, and I'm sorry to hold you up, Peter. I know you're probably busy and all that. Mark, same thing. Even though Karen was killed in Halloween Kills, and that's your wife's name, so I got to keep. That's a running joke between us. I got to keep doing it.
Yeah.
But anyway, Michael Keaton. That's one thing people don't understand is Michael Keaton was not wanted by the suits, the powers to be, because he was considered a funny guy. Jack Nicholson at the award show when Batman won the award says, I'm backing up Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton throws shade at those people. That's why we want Michael Keaton. And the second thing is we were robbed of that third and final Keaton Burton movie. And that's the only thing I want is that
I think
pride.
I think if they would
Michael Keaton came back.
I think if they would have showed the test audience Flash first and then showed it there, I think it would have worked better. Then they would have understood why he was there.
Yeah, that's why I can't wait for Wednesday Addams, because Tim Burton's doing it. So it's not going to be like Addams Family.
November.
Oh my God, it looks so good. Serious.
Cobra Kai comes out soon, season 5. I can't wait to see that.
Because they're going to bring back I didn't see it, but I hope they bring back the kid from part 3 that he fights in the championship.
Mike Barnes, yeah, they're bringing him back.
Oh, they are.
Yes, and they're bringing back what's the girl's name from part 4?
Oh, Hilary Swank's character.
Yeah, they're bringing her back supposedly.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's two people. Only 2 people have graduated from from the same dojo and stuff. And
Miyagi-Do, yeah. Well, actually, no, that is not true. Chosen even said that his family came from Miyagi-Do as well.
They
from him, from that. But yeah, that's what they're saying. Julie was her name.
Julie. Yeah.
I'm not going to quote that it's actually true, but from what I read, she was willing to come back, and if she's willing to come back, they're going to put her in it.
I mean, they got Elizabeth Shue to come back. Anything can happen.
Which it turned out great. I started watching, Cobra Kai before it even came out on, Netflix.
When it was on YouTube,
I kept telling people, you need to watch it. You need to watch it. It's going to be good. And most people didn't watch it until it came out on Netflix.
The problem is, Hilary Swank's in great shape, but she'd have to fight. It wouldn't be like Elizabeth Shue who doesn't have to fight. You know what I'm saying? Swank would have to fight. She's got to be my age, if not more. She got to be close to 50.
Well, right. The one thing that I miss
but is LaRusso's 60s. Good, sorry.
Miyagi. I feel like, even though it's about Daniel and the others, I still feel the show misses Miyagi. And that's why they keep paying homage to him, because he's such that big of a character.
I love the fact. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Mark. We cut you off.
I love the fact that how they're bringing Daniel and Johnny Johnny together and making them work together instead of them fighting, and for one common goal in getting Cobra Kai Cobra gone.
Terry Creese and Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
hey, how cool
not Creese, Silver.
How cool would it be? You just got me thinking, Steven, if they did a flashback like Halloween did of Daniel-san and Miyagi. Oh man, or Miyagi doing something else another time, or that'd be fucking cool.
Oh, okay. Well, there's talk that they're gonna do a spin-off, the Young Miyagi Adventures or some shit like that, and it's kind of like, really, like, there's only one Miyagi. I'm sorry.
Just like they're doing the cartoon for Gremlins.
And we're supposed to get another movie, so which that should be cool with Gizmo.
It'll be Christmas. From what I read on, it's supposed to be Christmas 2023, but they haven't announced it yet. I just read it.
Well, we're getting another Ghostbusters movie this year.
Really?
Yeah, the Aftermath. Yeah, they go to New York this time.
Yep.
They go back to
I love that movie. Like, when I got to see what they did with Egon, I cried. I'll admit it.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I thought it was great put together.
But you know what, guys? All good things must come to an end. Peter,
I'm going to go watch
thank
football.
you so very much, man. I'm going to get off here, I'll download the stuff, send you the stuff. Hopefully it works this time.
And
I'm going to watch some football because, I feel like we hit it out of the park. I'm like Stone Cold Steve Austin right now after he had the match with Bret Hart where, gotta have a cigarette. No, I don't really smoke, but might have to now. Thank you so very much, Peter. I can't state it enough. Thank you for being so thank you for being so positive. I wish we could have streamed this to other things, but I'll find that out.
Oh, we'll get another chance. Don't worry.
We will.
Yeah.
And again, thank you so very much, Peter.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you for the amazing success that you have with Roseblood, and keep it up, bro. Keep winning awards. Thank you.
Thanks, bro. You guys have a great night.
You too. Later.
See you.
Later. How was that, Mark? What do you think, man?
Did you stop recording?
No, not yet. But that is it here. I'm Steven Jarvis. That was Mark Bensett, a guest host. Thank you so very much, Mark. Wish Alyssa could have been involved with this, but you know what? She's in her own world. So, as always, I'm Stephen Jarvis, the host of Stephen Jarvis and Friends podcast. That is it. Thank you again, Peter, for being such a great person, and we're out.
Later.